Hello, my loves, and welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I am your host for today, Laura Lalaki, international real estate agent, and today we're exploring the concept of family legacy and Black nepotism. Our case study for the day, the upcoming historic moment where LeBron James and his son Bronny are set to share the court in the NBA, a first for a father-son duo. However, not everybody really views this moment as positive. Critics argue that Bronny hasn't truly earned this opportunity and that successful families like the Jameses should give others a chance to shine. But here's the real question. Shouldn't we all strive to set our kids up for success? Isn't that the point of building a legacy? And today we'll discuss family legacies, financial responsibilities, and how building wealth and opportunities for our children is often viewed, especially in the Black community. Plus, we'll look at the numbers like Bronny's $7.9 million Lakers deal and discuss the financial impacts of generational wealth. Now, joining me today are my queens, and we have a king on board as well. Constance Carter, wealth activist, Dr. Alicia Watkins, couples coach and social work professor, and Joe Corley, licensed therapist, mental wellness coach, and public speaker. Hello, panel. Hello, family. I hope you all are doing well today. Now, this is really going to be very interesting because we always talk about generational wealth, and we are a financial channel. And then you hear things like this, and then you hear battles going on about what's going on, just giving kids things. That's what people are basically saying, is that Bronny didn't have to earn this. But let's look at like a little bit of history of what LeBron's history and background is before we dive into what he's doing with his son. So LeBron James is the first active NBA player to become a billionaire. B, not M, with Forbes estimating his net worth at $1 billion in June 2022. In 2003, he was drafted first overall by the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then in 2004, he was named Rookie of the Year. Now, he also has won 4 NBA championships, 3 All-Star MVPs, 5 All-Defensive First Team, 4 MVP. Now, as much as I don't know about basketball, I know those things are good. So he has earned quite a bit in his career, and everybody loves him. We all call him King James, right? So I'm going to start off with a simple question. First, I want to say thank you to our viewership family. You are part of this conversation. So this question goes to you because I want to hear what your answers are as well. Dr. Alicia, did you inherit anything from your parents? And if you did, what kind of personal story do you have to go with that?
Oh gosh, I'm a second generation therapist. And I hadn't even really realized that I grew up in a household where I had 2 parents that, it was all traditional. The 2 parents, they were married to each other. They had me and my brother, and they both dedicated their lives to helping the Black community. And my mom was a school counselor and a school teacher, and my dad was a social worker and a social work educator at Tuskegee University. So I grew up on a college campus. I would like to believe that I became a therapist because that's what I wanted to, but I just grew up in an atmosphere where my dad was about Black power. He wanted to teach at a HBCU. That was his whole, quest in life. He turned down money. He had opportunity to teach at a PWI, and for less money, he went to Tuskegee and ran their social work program for 40 some odd years till he retired. And that's what I grew up with. And so I want to believe that I became a therapist because that's what I wanted to, but I have to accept the fact that I was influenced in some unconscious way. No one ever told me be a therapist. It's just something that I felt came naturally to me. So I'm carrying on this legacy, but I do feel like I'm living my own destiny here. And so I think that it's important. We are shaped by what we are exposed to as children and what we grew up as. And so it becomes part of who we are. So this makes sense that Bronny would want to follow in his father's footsteps in this way.
But I'm going to ask you twofold before I move on to the other panel, because that brings up a really good question. You know, a lot of the times we expect our children to follow in the footsteps of their parents. Did you feel like this was something that you had to do, or it was part of your calling?
I would like to think it's part of my calling, but I can't deny that there may have been some subtle, influences there. But when I told my parents what I wanted to become, they never guided me. Like my parents never said, "You need to do this. You need to do these things." They never told me what to do, and I just loved being on college campuses. I loved learning, and Um, I enjoy statistics. I enjoyed writing. I enjoy expressing myself. And I also enjoy being compassionate and empathetic, particularly to marginalized groups of individuals, people who were oppressed in some way. So that naturally led me to social work. But when I told my dad I wanted to get a PhD in social work, he said, "Are you ready? You ready for this sort of thing?" And I didn't know what he meant, but I know now what he meant by that. And he guided me through the process. So I think I did have an advantage because my dad had connections in social work education. My dad was one of the founding people who did a lot of things and came into social work right when it was brewing in the 70s. So, he was very well known. Of course, I had a different last name, so people didn't know that it was me until much later on. So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't getting special privileges because of my background. But once you're in there, you have to show and prove yourself. And that's what Bronny is going to have to do. Yeah, he made it to the NBA, but hey, he going to be benched and he has to show and prove. And that puts more pressure on him because he's there now. The struggle to get there may not have been similar to everybody else in the NBA. And so now he's got quite something to overcome. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe he does too. Constance, now I'm going to throw that question to you. Did you receive any type of inheritance from your parents? And that includes money, property, lessons, values. What is it that have you ever had this experience, and can you share that with us?
So first of all, I want to say, man, Dr. Alicia, your family sounds like the epitome of Black excellence, which is the thing that I am striving to do for my children. That is a beautiful thing to see. It makes me want to cry. It makes my heart really warm because I think that's what we all dream of, right? We dream of creating these lives for our children that they would aspire to do, that maybe that they can go and just take that legacy to the next generation. I mean, I think that's wonderful. So I loved hearing that. And I want to sit down and hear more about it when we can get to a one-on-one, because I think that's amazing. We need more stories like that of Black people. But for me, I got bad credit from my family. I got bad credit from my mom and daddy. That's what I got from my mom and daddy. And so I grew up hearing what we couldn't do or what we couldn't have because they had bad credit. And so I didn't know what it was, but I knew it was ruining our lives. So I wrote some books about credit. This is one of my books, Build Credit to Build Wealth. I wrote Keeping Score, which is a best-selling book. So, I took those hardships and those lessons, and I created a business to help other people who struggled in that way. So I did the opposite. So I didn't have that thing that was given to me, which I think is dope. But what I want to do is I want to do exactly what her family did and pass it on to my children. So I think that's amazing.
Well, I already think that you're doing that very well. I love your family dynamic as well. So out of what you felt like you didn't get, you pass it along to your children.
That's exactly
so Joe, I'm going to ask you, have you inherited anything from your parents? And if you have any personal experience with that?
Yeah, generational trauma. I got that. But I think when we were talking the other day, well, y'all were talking, I was just in the comments about estate planning and how that works out. Both my parents, I had both my parents on my 15th birthday. By the time my 17th birthday came, they were gone. And, they didn't pass on anything. They weren't prepared for that moment. So it was nothing. And I had to basically get it out the mud from scratch. And not only that, none of them had done what I was trying to do. Like, I'm the first to go to college, the first to experience that. So there was no one I could even reach or lean on to say, well, how do I do this? Or how is it supposed to work? Or, what am I was figuring it all out, literally as I was going. And I got to college and, I didn't understand anything about majors or how to, build on my talent or take these. I mean, I didn't understand anything. So no, I didn't I didn't get anything past Alpha.
Did you say you hated them by 15 and you lost them by 18? Is that what you said?
And I had them by at 15 years old. Both my parents were alive, and by 17, they both were deceased.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, and it was
And
so
so
it wasn't.
that set you up for a different experience as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I had to, but, with that experience, I have been able to, be a support. I kind of the same way Dr. Alicia, felt like she was driven into that calling, that those experiences drove me into the calling as well. But I went to college trying to be Marcus Graham from Boomerang. That's all I wanted.
Marcus.
All I wanted. I saw Boomerang. I don't know if Boomerang doesn't come out. I don't know if I even go. I don't even know if I go. I just wanted that. I said, "Oh, yeah, that's what I want to do." That's what I want to do.
Well, me, I got a lot of life lessons and I got a solid tribe, but there really wasn't much to pass down. The way I grew up was so strange. If people have followed us a long time, I was given to my aunt at the age of 3, who had already had 5 boys. They were all grown and gone. And so, of course, the 5 boys in that family, got the inheritance. So, and my dad didn't really have anything, but I had plenty of love. And I don't feel like I missed out on any of that at all. And I also worked very hard for everything that I have, but I had those life lessons that helped me to get where I am today. But, I think the problem with this is people feel like this young man hasn't earned this opportunity. And we're definitely going to delve into that, because this is a little deeper than what we're saying. This is more than I feel like he's just getting something. So we're going to delve into that and look at some of your comments. So now we're going to take this short break. We'll be right back.
Hey, if you're just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I am Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I am the proud producer of this show. So I hope that every day when you join us, you leave a little smarter than you came, because that's the point. Otherwise, why are you watching? So if you want to receive notices for when we go live, Fly Nubian Money goes live every single day. That's Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you don't know, now you know. All you have to do is text the word Queens. That's Queens. That's Queens to 87948. That's 87948. That's Queens to 87948. Yes? If you want.
Yes, go on and do that. Queens to 87948, so you don't miss anything that we do. Listen, there's a great comment here. Double A says, I'm a diehard Laker fan and cannot stand LeBron or his son, but I'm not mad that he got to move up. It's rare that Black folk get these privileges. Hopefully most of us get it. It's called generational wealth. And that makes me want to ask you all a question. We've talked about how we were raised, but Constance, how do we give our children more than what we had in helping them reach their ambitions and their goal, and give them kind of a drive and a hunger to get to it?
Yeah, I'm telling you, just lead by example. It's so funny because my daughter, she's licensed. She got a real estate. I'm in real estate. I've been in real estate 20 plus years. She got licensed in California when she was 19, just kind of have it while she was in college. And then she just got licensed here in Maryland. And so I'm really going to be helping her to craft her business to really make sure that she's successful. I'm going to undergird her with everything that I have. But it's funny that when she was in college and I was saying, listen, I got this business. This is when, I built the largest Black-owned real estate firm in California. My thing was to pass it to my children. She's like, I don't want that. This is my son said, I don't want that. I want to forge my own way. And her friends was like, girl, nepotism, girl, you better get that. You better do that. And she was like, no. And then life hit, reality hit. And she was like, maybe it's not so bad working in the capacity that my mama, has laid for me, because she sees the fruit, but she sees what it did to help people. She sees how I operate in it. And it's something that she now wants to do. But I think it's great. I think it's a testament to what it is that I do within my business. The fact that she will want to follow me makes me feel really, really good. But it's just setting the foundation and showing them why, because it's not just about the money. That part is good, but that part comes, money goes. It's really around, like I was just saying, I'm about to get on Spirit. Like, we used to fly first class, the whole family. Right now we fly Spirit. So, the money comes and money goes. However, she sees what it does and the impact that it has. And so therefore, there's something that she wants to do that makes me feel good.
I bet that it does. Now, I want to tell you right now, I wish I would have had that when I got into real estate. You and I have been about the same time. But no one in my family did mostly entrepreneur. They all worked for other corporations and stuff. So this was fairly new to me. And so I had to stumble and stub that big toe quite a bit. I want to pull up some information about Bronny. We do have a little bit about him and his father. So Bronny got a rookie deal with the Lakers, and it starts at $1.1 million for the 2024-25 year, and it increases each year. Now, with that being said, guys, we do know, we had this when we were talking about football and why people blow their money. This is low compared to this is on the lower end. He's going to have to prove himself. So they're making history with this, but he still has to make his own history. And I don't really feel like he's riding his dad's coattail. With them working together, I feel like his dad is setting footprints. He's already set footprints, but even deeper footprints for him to follow. But Big Mac actually says it's who you know sometimes, not what you know or can do. And that's just the game sometimes. I'm asking you, Joe, do you feel that is true?
I'll say this. I feel like, what we're looking at with Bronny, his contract is probably on the low end of the money that he even brings in right now. He makes over $1 million playing video games. He has endorsement deals, out the wazoo. That money is not about, his being on the Lakers is not about the money for him. It's about fulfilling the dream. Like, he actually wants to be in the NBA. He wants to be successful in the NBA. So, just like all of us who, want to do something, and you have the opportunity to go do it, why would you not go do that? It doesn't make any sense for him not to pursue this. So anybody that is critical of him getting paid for that, I really question, I question where you're at right now mentally, how hurt you are, who hurt you, what's really going, who hurt you, what's really going on? Because are you turning it down?
Right? You ain't gonna turn it down, but you want him to turn it down. It's crazy.
Are you turning it down? No. So no.
But how is this any different, guys? I mean, this brings me up to something else as well. So remember just a few years ago when all those parents got in trouble for paying all that money at USC. A lot of big name stars were paying to let their children get in, and they ended up going to prison. So my question is,
they was white, so they paid to prison.
They paid. They went in for their little terrible meal so they can come out and say, "Oh, I went to jail." So how is this any different than what is being done in this situation? And is this a standard? Is this a double standard for our communities? I'm going to throw that to you, Dr. Alicia. Do you feel like that there's a double standard in the world when there is other families and other groups of people, and then it comes to us, it's a different thing?
That's an interesting question. I did follow that story about wealthy parents paying to put their children into universities that they otherwise would not have been admitted to. And I think that's really interesting. It was illegal. How they did it was illegal. I saw the whole documentary on it, and the legalities, I would hope that when we want to hook up our kids, hopefully we'll do it in a way that's not illegal. And I think that it had to do something with federal money. It was a criminal enterprise that people were actually building their whole business on and profiting from. What Black people do, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that white people do this too. Like a lot of races do throw their influence to favor their children, as long as it's in a way that's not, there's no legal issues. But I wanted to comment on what Constance and Joe said, if I could do that. Is that okay?
Yes.
Constance,
No, there's rules here.
I want to answer your question, but I also to move the conversation along. But yeah, I mean, what I heard from Constance, that is so normal. All children want to develop their own identity. And it's so normal for her to push against wanting to follow in your footsteps, because she wants to know psychologically, what is it like to explore her own unique interest and talents and perspective. So when you see that in your children, everybody, that's a positive thing. They're developing their own identity apart from their parents. So that process is a necessary process. Another thing I wanted to comment with Joe was that, yeah, it's not about the money, but I also wonder if there's a psychological aspect to it. I think that Bronny becoming a basketball player, he is psychologically trying to get acceptance and approval from his father. I think that that's always a possibility there. And think about it. I'm just trying to put myself in his shoes. Here you have this famous father who spends half of the year away from home, half of the year traveling, and you can only connect with your father via whatever method, if you could travel to get there. I'm certain during schooling years, he had to go to school, so he couldn't travel along. I'm thinking you see your dad on TV, you look up to your dad, but he's not with you because that basketball schedule is grueling during the season. So I also wonder if this was some psychological way of trying to connect with his father, who may have been missing during significant portions of his childhood. And he's reliving what he felt like he missed by going along with his dad. It could be driven, because it's not driven by money. It could be driven by this need to connect with your father figure, which absolutely makes sense. Maybe there's some sort of unconscious decision to make this career decision to connect with what he may have been missing, having a father away and traveling and doing all these things. So that's what I wonder about that.
Yeah, I think that's a really good thing to bring up. Now, Constance, I know you wanted to answer that question. We were talking about what's, are we different when it comes to other communities who are doing the same thing? I know there was an illegal aspect to it, but we know backroom deals go on all the time.
Oh my God, so many things. So remember the black lady who went to jail for saying that she lived in a different address, just trying to get her baby a better education. So you see the double standard that happens for us. So I want to talk, I would say that, get that out the way. When I think about a couple of things, one of my, a guy who used to be my tenant, his name is Rob Owens, and he used to be my tenant, and he ended up building a $30, $40, $50 million business. He's doing really well. He created this thing called the Bump Box, and it's these big boom boxes. I don't know if you've seen them. They're in all of these different, they're in NFL, NHL. He has all the rappers endorsing it, Selena, Aaliyah, like all these. So he's like, has this huge business. And one of the things for him is he won't, like, I do all of his financing and stuff, and he's like one of my mentees, but he's making more money than me. But I do all of his financing, and he won't give that for his kids. He wants his kids to get it out the mud. He's a white dude, wants his kids to get it out the mud. He doesn't believe in nepotism, which I thought was interesting. The other thing is you got to look at it. 30% of CEOs of Fortune 500 companies are white. They hire people who are in their family. They hire people who look like them. They're not hiring people who look like you. So if we know that 30% of CEOs are white in Fortune 500 companies, only 3% of CEOs are black for Fortune 500 companies. We're not able to give our children the same opportunities that other ethnicities are giving, because they're, again, when you look at nepotism, people are coming in based upon relationships, right? And so we don't have those same opportunities on that level. Then I think back to a post that I did a couple of years ago about me giving my 18-year-old son the keys to his first property. I bought him an investment property, gave him the keys. It was beautiful, had a nice little song, and went viral. All these people were commenting. It was mostly white people that were saying, oh, he's spoiled. He need to get it out the mud himself. Black people was cheering us on, but white people were on there saying, oh, why you spoil that boy like that? So I thought that was very interesting, because them McFack motherfuckers do it all the time. But as soon as we try to do the same thing for our children, which we should be doing, which we're supposed to be doing, then we get pushed back. And then it's really a lot of self-hatred. Like I agree with you say, Joe. I question your mental. Because if you saying that somebody shouldn't give their child the opportunity to succeed, when you look at all of these, that's what it's about. That's why we do it. That's why I get up every morning. And so I can give my kids opportunity to do better than me, to give them opportunities to go further than me. So if you're saying that I should not give my kids an opportunity, I question your mental. And I bet you probably live in some type of impoverished situation, because if you don't, who don't want their kids doing better than them? That's just crazy talk. So, it's all of these different things that were going through my mind as I was listening to Dr. Alicia and listening to that question. But I just think that that should be our why. Why shouldn't we be giving our kids the opportunity?
Right. And we got someone who definitely agrees with you. Jalen Wash says white fathers bring their sons in the company all the time, but it's a problem when LeBron puts his son on. Wow. So I'm kind of with you on that. I think that sometimes it could be a double standard, but we have so much more to dig into, but we're going to take just a short break. We'll be right back.
You want to grow your money and not blow your money, as Constance says, check us out at flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, programs, videos, resources. In 2024, there's no reason to be broke when there's information all around us. So get your money right. flynubianmoney.com.
FlyNubianMoney.com. Go on over there and get your money, because we got all sorts of things over there that help you build your wealth. And that's what we're talking about, is we want to make you get your money right and your money tight. So listen, I want to pull up a little bit of, because we're talking about, how do we help the next generation get better, right? So let's look a little bit about LeBron's history, because I think this is quite telling. So he was born in 1984 to a 16-year-old single mom. He never had a relationship with his biological father, who was reportedly in trouble with the law. And this is a picture of him and his mom. I absolutely love this. LeBron and his mother faced poverty, including problems with housing and education. They moved around a lot, up to a dozen times in a 3-year period. And when LeBron was in the 4th grade, he missed 82 days of school and was sent to live with a foster family temporarily. Now, fast forward to his relationship with his mom. LeBron has said that his mother's love and devotion made it possible for him to pursue his dreams. But I love this. He has also said that the most important thing that you can give a child is love and attention. And that's what his mother gave him. All right. So that tells a lot about how he wants to see his children succeed. So, Joe, in the Black community, it's rare. It's really rare to see generational wealth passed down, but we're seeing more examples like this family. So how important is it for us to build the legacies for our children, both financially and in terms of opportunity?
Yeah, and not only financially, but the way that he went about growing it and passing it on, I think is also important, through nurturing. If you go listen to like a bunch of like Shaquille O'Neal interviews, you'll see that, he like glorifies abuse quite often, right? And he kind of passes that along to what he believes is, the necessary way to lift up his children. I mean, just go listen. You'll hear like he got hit in the mouth all the time. He got slapped upside the head, and but he doesn't like talk about it in a negative light. Like it's more of a positive thing for him. So, on the flip side of that, you got Bron, who father didn't really pass down anything to him, and he still managed to build this legacy for himself. It's not only financially, but understand, Bron was in the national spotlight at 16 years old. Okay. And he was a multimillionaire by the time he was 18 years old. So imagine all of the debauchery and the mistakes that he could have made, and he didn't do that. He took this one woman. As far as we know, we don't have any evidence to the contrary. So he took this one woman, this Black woman. He married her. He made her a wife, a mother. He took care of his mom. He lifted up his entire family. You don't get him. He's not caught up in any scandals. To me, even more than the money, Okay. Not to mention he built himself. He's a self-made billionaire, even more than the money. What he passed down to not only his children, but generations of kids behind him to let you know you can do this without making a damn fool of yourself. And then to branch out to the friends that he brought up. You know, he didn't just pass his friends money. You know, he passed his friends opportunities and told him to go create. And his friends are now multimillionaires. You know, we're not talking about what this man did enough. We're not talking about it in a proper way and how important it is for the generations behind to watch what he did. That's what's important.
I agree with that. It's how we do things, and sometimes it's a delicate balance in what we're doing. So, Dr. Alicia, there are many critics right now. They're saying that Bronny didn't earn this opportunity, and that nepotism blocked more deserving players. So, do you think this is a fair critique, or is that just a part of what we do to help build generational wealth and legacy?
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to get away from this scarcity sort of idea. Like it, yeah, I mean, his spot on the Lakers could have been taken up by somebody who really had to grind in to get that particular spot. I mean, I could definitely see that as a criticism, a possible criticism. But at the same time, you got to look at, you don't necessarily invest in the way people play currently. You also invest in their potential to grow and their dedication to be a better athlete. My understanding is that Bronny went to that special high school for, they just like, they just turn you into like a mega athletic, your body and your schooling. You go to that there's a special high school, I think in Florida. And my understanding is that he went to that special high school. So he was cultivated. His potential, he's reaching his potential. It was really developed in him. So he has everything that it takes to be a star, not only as good as LeBron, but even better. I mean, he has what it takes to even be better. My thinking is that I am curious about how Bronny interprets his position on this. Does he think it's well-deserved, or does he think, I think some nepotism is helping me? So I'm wondering if there's any imposter syndrome happening with Bronny. I don't know. I didn't see any press conferences from him. I don't know how he's responded to this. But for me, psychologically, he has a hurdle to overcome, because I'm certain he's hearing these criticisms. I'm certain people on the basketball team may be saying that to him, because there's my understanding is that rookies go through some sort of light hazing situations. My understanding on basketball teams, they get hazed. So I'm certain he's hearing these comments, but not only is a physical toughness, but it's a mental toughness. A lot of it is mental. I did my boot camp this morning, and they paired me off with this really fast lady. And I was like, oh Lord, I'm about to die today. This lady gonna drag me across this court. But I was like, wow, I'm keeping up with this really fast, very fit person who's in better health, shape-wise than I am. And I kept up with her, and she's like, you can do this. So when you're put in these situations, you can surprise yourself about what you can do. And sometimes mentally we get locked into this space. So I'm saying that to say this, we shall see. I think we should tune in. It's great marketing for the Lakers, because it's keeping up this synergy. What is it like? I'm certain he's riding the bench, but when he gets out on that court, we're interested in like seeing how he's doing. So some of this, I'm sure LeBron is saying, listen, we're making history. Do you want to be part of it, or do you not? I can go to another team and bring my son on. There's other teams that are doing this for me, would be willing to take both of us on as a package deal. I think it's beautiful. I'm going to tune in. It's got me tuning in to see how he does. I'm rooting for him, and hopefully mentally he can get over this sort of thing. And I'm all for the documentary and all of the things that come through, because it's inspiring. I think LeBron James is Father of the Year. The whole James family, they are Black Family of the Year. I think Steph Curry is another family that I just love to look up to. They are about Black families and positivity.
I agree. But Joe, I think you have a take on this too. Would like to hear what your thoughts are on this.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just feel like if he is sitting around and wondering if nepotism, which is obviously a thing, that could be, I do believe, without talking to him, that what Dr. Leach is saying is true. There's a possibility that those thoughts are in the back of his head. But if he's sitting around wondering if is nepotism helping me, I would say to him, I sure hope the hell you do know nepotism is helping you, and I hope you're grateful for it. You know, because it's a lot of us sitting around who fathers didn't pass them a damn thing, right? And as a father of two sons, when I'm gone, I hope they look up and say, you know, my dad did something to make my life a little easier to avoid some of the struggles that he had growing up. So it's all, like I said, it's all in the way we look at it. Like I really hope that you know, he appreciates that nepotism, and I think we need to start doing that. You know, we need to start appreciating that our parent, if we have parents that decrease our struggle, it's okay to say thank you for that, as opposed to, you know, looking at it as a negative thing. And you know, I know some people think, well, I wish he would have stayed in school. Listen, he left school to go to the NBA, right? What really is college going to do for him? Let's just say, oh, he could have developed to become a better player. Do some of y'all really think that he could have became a developed player staying at USC as opposed to being in the Lakers practices? I mean, I really want everybody to understand how this nepotism thing works and how it's working out for him, and hopefully we are, you know, passing that along more and more and more. Everybody should be inspired to provide some nepotism for their kids. I'm
And
trying
there's
to.
no set way. There's
Yeah,
no set way for
yeah,
success. We talked about this on yesterday's show, right? Like college is not always for everybody. So people are like, he should have stayed in college. Well, how do you know he was going to be a good college student? That may not be his calling. This may be part of his calling. You know, you just never know. And the thing is, we always like to be the sideline people whispering, right? So in my life, I do my best to not judge because I don't know what somebody else's footsteps are. I only know mine. And so I try to be as encouraging as possible. I know sometimes y'all see me slip on this show, but hey, sometimes I just got to just be human, just like everybody else. But we're going to come right back right after this and continue this discussion.
Fly Nubian Money is now on Spotify. Yes, yes, yes. We are on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, you can listen to us. All you have to do is search Fly Nubian Money and we will appear. All of our episodes. Make sure that you leave a 5-star rating and reviews so other people that come along and are looking for a good show to watch, they'll follow us too. If you are interested in being on Fly Nubian Money, sorry, I don't have any spaces. I'm just playing. If you are interested in being a queen or a king on Fly Nubian Money for the day, please reach out to me. I'm at info@realvirtual.net. That's info@realvirtual.net. Also, if you need help with your business, go ahead and send me an email for that too. Okay. I've said enough. Now back to the show.
Because we do it all. We help you build your generational wealth. We give you an outlet to come and speak. And then if you're out on your jog and you missed a daggone show, then all you got to do is go to Spotify and download us there. We do all the things. So Constance, listen, I know we're talking about LeBron James. We're talking about people with big money, right? But I want to know, because you have mentioned a little bit this before, what financial moves can we make as an average family to help secure wealth for our future generations, even on a smaller scale, since we're not the billions that LeBron has?
Oh my gosh. Whew, that's a good question. I would say that if you don't know about financial intelligence or your financial IQ or financial literacy, learn a little something about it. The biggest thing in our community is that we need to teach that to our people, that each one teach one. And that's the reason why I love working with Black women, right? Because there's an African proverb that says, when you teach a man, you teach an individual. But when you teach a woman, you teach a nation. Because women not only learn, but they share, they grow, they expand. And so that's what I think we need to do. So I'm not just talking to women, I'm talking to the men too, because I know we got a lot of men on here. But I just think that we got to really be intentional and proactive about what we know about money. And just like Tiara said in the commercial, there's too much information out here for us not to know. We have, I'll say it 1,000 times. We got more technology in the palm of our hands than they had when they put the man on the moon. There's no reason why we don't know that we don't know. The saying that used to be if you want to keep something from a black person, put it in a book. Y'all scrolling all through Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and everything else. Make sure that your scrolling is intentional and make sure that you're learning. Malcolm Gladwell has a book that's called Outliers. It's one of my favorite books. And he talks about the way to perfection is 10,000 hours. And this is what I did this week. I'm not on social media this week. I've taken a break because it has actually caused me to be unproductive. And yesterday was my first day, and I was so much more productive yesterday than I've been in the last 3-4 months, I think, because I'm off social media. But you think about the time that you're using to scroll, right? That could be the 10,000 hours that you're using per year that you could be using to educate yourself, to pour into yourself, to create a business, to monetize something in some way, to learn something to pass to your children. So I say, just take that time that you're using in non-productive forms. And I'm talking to myself too, y'all. Use it for something productive.
Baby, when I say you can go down that rabbit hole and you just
listen, I've been doing it. I've been commenting on everything on the Shade Room and Neighborhood Talk and everything else. Been doing what I need to do.
And you look up and you go, oh my God, it's 2 hours later when you could be doing something more productive. So literally this week, I downloaded a social media timer for myself because I was just letting myself slide on down that Alice rabbit hole. And next thing you know, it's time to go to bed. But Full of Grace and Truth says, stop making your kids start from scratch. That's crazy. What have you been doing all of your life? Joe, I want to know what you feel about that. And how do we move from just surviving to building wealth?
I agree 100% with that. I feel like, expecting our children to just turn around and build from scratch is a detriment to us, a detriment to the generations following. And I feel like what we need to be doing is doing our best. I hope that's what everybody's goal is. What are we doing this for? I mean, in Constance, what are you working so hard for, Dr. Leach? What are you working so hard for if it's not to build a stronger foundation than the one that you bounced off of? If not to build something for your children to start their own legacies and just eliminate, even if it's a micro fraction of the struggle that you had to deal with. And yeah, what are you building that for? So how important is that? Listen, I speaking from personal experience. Okay. I graduated. I was like one of the only Black kids in my school to graduate with honors. I had supreme talent. Okay. But no foundation. So I had to hit my head 100 times over, when I was in high school. I had my own apartment before I graduated. I had 3 jobs to try to maintain. All of these things were taken away from the talent that I could have been using and putting forth into an education. I didn't have anybody to say, hey, don't go to this PWI, or don't go to this environment that was going to break you down and tear you down. So I had to go through all of that. Now, I have 2 intelligent sons that are stumbling and bumbling through life. And yeah, they're going to have their own stumbles, their own bumbles, but they will not be the same ones that I had. They will not be the same ones. So it is critical, to answer your question, Lala. It is critical. It's critical.
I agree. I totally agree. Full of Grace and Truth also says that we must make a way for our children and build our families into a power structure mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. So I do want to take it to the mindset and the mental health aspect of this. So Dr. Alicia, how does the pressure to earn success on their own affect our children's mental health? And what can we do to help foster a healthy balance between ambition and support?
Yeah, I have this battle with myself. I wanted to channel Athena. Man, I need to just live a soft life. Why am I working so hard? Let me just sit back and do nothing. I have these conversations with myself. Why am I so ambitious? That is something to think about. I think it's the interpersonal relationships between you and your child. If you really want to leave a legacy for them, you have to instill in them confidence, letting them know they can do it, not stepping in and doing things for them. I think that's important when you talk about the relationship between a parent and a child. It's cultivating their talents, paying attention to them and seeing what they're naturally good at and encouraging them to do this. I have a child who's an artistic in the arts and all of this. And I do have an art background. I went to performing arts high school. And so it's great to cultivate all of that in her. That's a side different from me. She's her own individual person, but I want to give her the confidence and the courage to just get on out there. And I don't care if she succeeds or if she falls on the stage flat on her face. I am just cheering for the process of her, like, it's falling, it's physically falling. It builds character. It's seeing them get back up and do things, just watching her struggle. Even my other daughter who wants to go into the medical profession, I'm like, you have 2 aunts that are medical doctors. It'd be nice if you would do that, but you don't have to. So, it's cultivating what you see naturally in your children and giving them the confidence to be able to just go for it, knowing that no matter what happens, if you fail, I'm here to help you. But I want to see you struggle and to become. I think that's important, because what if LeBron decides one day and says, you know what, I want to go back to USC and I'd like to be an accountant. I really want to take some business classes and become a CPA. I think that should be supported too. If he gets, if he wants to do something totally different, and it may or may not happen. Look at Shaquille O'Neal. He's gone back after his success. He's become a sheriff or something. He's gone to graduate school, got an MBA. I mean, he's able to explore all of these different areas that he wants to develop interpersonally. And I think it's never too late to go back. All of you all out there, if there's something that you feel like you had to do, get to a point where you're doing things that you really want to do. And it's never too late to start over. I mean, I just want to encourage everybody to get the confidence to, if it's planted in your head, get the confidence to go and pursue your dreams.
Well, if I have learned that more than anything in these last couple of years, and it's a well-known fact on this show that I've lost my sisters last year, and my sisters were one who would just get out here and just do it. They would just get out and do it. I want to do this, and then get out there and do that. Me, I'm like, well, I'll probably do it next year. I'm busy right now. But what I have learned is you never know when there is a tomorrow. So I have found that more and more I'm leaning on the things that I wanted to do as a younger person and embracing them as well. So it's never, ever too late to do that. And boy, am I enjoying it. Baby, I sing around this house. I just sing to my husband. He asked me a question and I answer in a song. That's just how it goes. But, that makes you happy as well. There's nothing to say that you can't stop what you're doing and turn around and take a different path. Rhonda Woodhouse says, we are standing on the shoulders of our ancestors. Grooming for wealth was a household topic in the Rockefellers family, and none of them started from zero. Take our children up another notch. I have to agree with that. So, Constance, in what ways can we help our children understand that leveraging family connections is just as valid to a path of success rather than a sign of weakness? Because it seems like our Black community is kind of seeing this as he's just kind of like letting him do this, when honestly he's got that leverage to use in his family.
Yeah, that is so important. And that's something that I'm actually really trying to instill in my oldest son. So my oldest son goes to Hampton University. He had an opportunity to go to Howard. He got a little money from Howard. And it was like a last minute type thing where he applied for Howard. They was going to give him a little money, but they didn't give him no housing. So he's like, wait a minute, I'm about to get a whole apartment at Hampton. And you mean to tell me I got to go to Howard and still live with my mama for a semester? I really don't want to do that. He wants to be a lawyer. So I'm telling them, and since I've been out here, I've been doing some great networking, right? So I know some really important people now, and I've made some really great connections. And I'm like, where else in the world would you want to be if you're going into law? He wants to go into corporate law, to be at Howard University here. And I have all these connections. I even got him a internship with the state's attorney. He fucked that off over the summer because he didn't follow up with her. So yes, right. And it was so funny because I had another really prominent attorney that I know very well. And he used to be my business coach years ago, but and so he told me that he tried to meet with my son back in the summer. My son asked him to meet with him, and my son just kind of brushed it off. And so the gentleman told me, what I don't think your son understands is that he has privilege because of you. The only reason all these other students his age are lining up to meet with me, but because he is your son, he is in the front of the line. He's at the front line. And he just kind of, so now he's like, he's a man. If he wants to talk to me, he's going to have to come to me. Ain't going to be no mama, being the intermediary, allowing him to get access to me. Now he has to do it like a man. So if he wants to come, he has to come to me like a man. So it's so important, that if we have them, that we pass them. But I think sometimes when you're in these situations, like my kids, not really understanding that they're in a place of privilege because of connections that I've made, then they just kind of take it for granted. And so that's what we also have to do is, as parents, just maybe stepping back and maybe not being so free with the connections and maybe make them work for it just a little bit, right? That balance. But, I'm trying to figure that part out, Dr. Alicia. I'm trying to figure out what that balance is to not give them access to everything and make them work for it a little bit so that they appreciate it. That's the thing I'm having. And I think, actually, to be honest with you, my son is learning, because now he's getting hit upside the head with all this stuff that, has come because he didn't do what he was supposed to do. So they do learn, but what do I do? What should I have done as a parent that would have not made him think that he had all of this access and that, made him appreciate it maybe a little bit more? What could I have done differently, Dr. Alicia?
Yeah, sorry, I had to unmute myself. I think experience is a great teacher. He has to be able to, there's something to the process of having the hunger and the strive to want to make your own connections. He did not see, I'm going through the same thing with my own son. Like, there's so much that he could do, and you see so much light there, but it's their own process. Let him, I think it would have been better if he had come to you with this idea, or you could just plant the seed and say, let me know when you're ready. Let me know when you're ready. And you be the gatekeeper. Say, are you really ready? Because I'm connecting you with this person, and I need to know that you don't embarrass me with this thing. Are you doing it because of me? Just having that conversation. Are you really ready? Like, make it hard for him. But like, I will make the phone call, but I don't know if you're quite ready. Show me that you're ready so that I can make this phone call, because maybe it'll give him a little more hunger instead of him feeling like his mom did it for him. The manhood thing is kicking in. I'm going to do it all by myself. That's what I'm going through right now. So yeah.
But I think there was a lesson learned, the Constance.
Yeah.
You said yourself, now that your son, you've done, like, your son go, oh wait, like that is a learning lesson. That's just one of those things that you got to learn on your own, that you think you're so cocky sometimes that you then all of a sudden go, wait. Oh, so I think there was a lesson learned in that was very valuable for him. But listen, we're talking about how we can help build our children's wealth. How can we help give them an upper hand? But listen, all of us here have our own businesses, and we are entrepreneurs. And many of our viewership are as well, our family out there who watch us, right? So if you want to get your brand in front of millions, because we have so many different platforms that we go live on, you can advertise with us on Fly Nubian Money. We go live 5 days a week on many pages that reach huge audiences and they engage with us. They're intelligent listeners. And if you don't believe us, go watch some of the replays and go look at all the comments, because even when we're not live, people are watching and putting those comments in, and we talk back. So this is actually your chance to connect with potential clients who are eager to learn about your business. Don't miss this opportunity. All you got to do is just email us. Once again, we're going to give you this email address. You ready? It's info@realvirtual.net. info@REELVIRTUAL.net. And in the subject line, all you have to do is put Fly Nubian Money ad, and we will send you our ad rates. And I think that's a wonderful opportunity, because we have a good thing going on here, and you want to be a part of that too. So I'm going to twist this up a little bit. Joe, in what ways can we provide mentorship or guidance to our children that draws from our experiences and our networks? Because let's not forget, guys, we are always talking about networking. Even when we're telling our kids to do sororities and fraternities and all those things, that's networking, right? They take care of one another. So how can we jump on this mentorship and see that these networks are important for our kids and have them appreciate it?
Right. I think the first step to that is learning to talk with our young people instead of talking at them. So that they're open to receiving from your experiences. Like for instance, I had a conversation with my son the other day. He's in high school, but he's also taking some dual credit courses in college, and he's like, oh, it's so hard. I'm struggling, and I don't want necessarily want to tell you how hard this is for me because I know how hard your life was. I know how hard mom's life was, and I said, son, you know, this is where we're going to have a vulnerable conversation. I'm going to open myself up to be able to listen to you, to understand that your experiences is different from mine. All right. And I need you to put yourself in a position to know that because of what I went through, it might be difficult for me to grab on to what your definition or your version of hard is, you know. And we're just going to talk about that. Like, I didn't grow up in a generation where people had access to me 24 hours a day. So I know that may be hard, and you didn't grow up having to figure out where your meal was coming from. So you telling me that you're struggling with time is going to be something I have to adapt to. So then there's that. And then, that having being the example, like you said, we're all entrepreneurs here. So he has an opportunity to watch me build a business and it doesn't look abnormal to him. So me growing up, that looked crazy to me. If I saw somebody saying, "What, you have a business? So you don't have a boss?" That sounded and looked crazy to me. But for him, we are showing that is normal. And, just us right here, putting ourselves in a position where young people, not even our own children, but other people's children can see that building businesses in our community should be normalized. We're showing that. That's what mentorship looks like. And then extending, no gatekeeping, no gatekeeping, making sure that we are extending the opportunities and the information so that it's accessible. What Lala, what Dr. Alicia, what Constance, is valuable to young people. And if you just take an opportunity to share and make yourself available for young people to know what it is you did and how you built this, that's mentorship. That's extremely valuable. Extremely valuable. I hope that answered your question.
It does. It does. And I have to say, and my son doesn't mind when I share this story because it's a success story. My son struggled with addiction for many, many years at an early age. And all I could do, you can't make them stop with anything, was continue to let him know that I loved him and that I know that he could be successful. I never put him down for what he was doing. I just prayed over him as a mother all the time, but still gave him support and love. But do you not know, my son is now sober for 4 years. He has a successful business in San Diego, and he says things to me when I thought that he didn't hear me at all, when he was in his stupors, that he says, I heard you say. And so I did. So never think that you're not getting through. And when you want to talk about proud mama bear, I am a proud mama bear. And I know that he heard those messages, whether you think they're listening or not. And hey, sometimes maybe your kid ain't listening, but maybe that friend that come over sometime, they listening. So you are touching someone. So you must be mindful of your words and how you present these things to the children. Always hold them in high regard because everybody has a life journey to follow. And that's a very important thing. So that is a part of being a mentor, right? So I once again, I say this every day, but it's the truest thing I've ever said is this hour's up. I cannot believe that we are here again, another successful topic. And I hope that you have learned something from us and that we love all the comments that you've been giving. So I'm going to start with you, Dr. Alicia. Would you please tell us your final thoughts and where we can find you?
Final thoughts today. Children learn from what you do more so than what you say. So watch out for what you do. Children also learn from their friends. Believe it or not, when they get in the teenage years, you think you got influence over them. Their friends have a lot of influence. So that's something else to keep in mind. And I think that I like what you had to say, Lala. I think that as parents, we have to stop with the helicopter parenting, because all that does is it enables them to continue to make their mistakes. And if you have a loved ones with addiction issues, definitely Al-Anon is wonderful site to go to, because they teach you different ways where you can't enable them to continue their behaviors that's not promising. But I think that even outside of addiction, you do need to think about, are you creating an opportunity in your children to grow and to explore, or are you enabling them by bailing them out, by doing for them things that they need to kind of get up and do on their own, thereby enabling them to be able to continue to make mistakes and not learning from their mistakes and sleeping in the bed that they create. They made that bed and letting them sleep in it, and supporting them. So it's a fine line between doing for your children versus trying to encourage them to do. They have what it takes to do it on their own, even if they make mistakes. So I think that's an important lesson today. I am Dr. Alicia. You can come to my website, coachingwithdralicia.com. You can catch me on the gram, Instagram at Coaching with Dr. Alicia.
And we love Dr. Alicia. And Dr. Alicia, I just love your hair. It's so cute and flirty today. Constance, what are your final thoughts and where can we find you, please?
Let me tell you something. Every fiber of my being, everything that I do, my life is dedicated to trying to create something for my children. My children are my why. They are the reason why I get up in the morning. When I first started in my business, I had one child and I was like, I don't need to make a bunch of money. I just want to pay for daycare and diapers. I just want to provide something. And then it became about building a real legacy. But when you have a purpose in why you do what you do, it's so easy to get up and do what you do. But when you also have a purpose to create a legacy because you want what you do to go beyond you, that gives it so much more meaning and so much more power. And I love the fact that LeBron, I don't even understand why people don't like LeBron. Dude is a powerhouse on the court. The boy can play. He dominates. He just does. And then he's a great Black man. He's a family man. He's an investor. He gives back to the community. He's a great there is nothing that you can really say bad about LeBron unless you're just being a hater. He's just a solid man of integrity. That's what it appears to, that's what he appears. His family loves him. His kids respect him. His wife adores him. That's what you want. He's all of those things. And I haven't seen anything to the contrary. He might flop, and call fouls and he might make some commands on the court. But that's just what they do in basketball. He is a good stand-up guy. And I hope that my kids can do the same, that thing that I'm doing for them, that LeBron is doing for their children, and pass it on to their children. Where can you find me? Everywhere. I am Constance Carter. Tonight, we got the B1 Real Estate Mastery Training, where I am showing investors or people how to invest in real estate all over the country. And guess what? It's not too late to join. You should join us. We're now investing in some property out in Detroit, and we got a lot of stuff coming up. If you really want to make some money, grow your money, and not blow your money in the real estate game, join us, b1realestatemastry.com.
Detroit City. You better go on and jump on that, because I'm all about you getting that money from real estate. I'm telling y'all, don't y'all wait too late. Joe, what are your final thoughts and where can we find you?
I saw Bronny check in the game the other day, and I kind of watched as LeBron try to reserve his emotions, but as a father, I knew what he was feeling, and I thought to myself, man, parenting is so weird. If you're any good at it at all, then it's probably the most scary and fearful thing that you'll ever do. And a lot of what we're hearing here, and a lot of what we're talking about, is operating from a place of fear, because you really want your children to have the best lives possible, and you also don't want them to come anywhere close to the same mistakes that you made. And because of that, we sometimes operate from a place of fear, and that fear can show up and sometimes look like anger. And we end up in a position where we're like yelling or doing all kind of stuff with our children. But really, what we really need to do is talk to them instead of at them. and let them know, where we're coming from, and recognize and realize that our children are not us and we are not them. We're talking about two totally different lives, two totally different generations. And also give yourself grace because, like I said, if you're any good at it and you're afraid, you're more than likely doing the best you can. And, you're not going to be able to catch every mistake. But that's just something you have to talk and walk yourself through. So kudos to LeBron for building this legacy for his children, for his sons and his daughter, who can't play in the NBA. But guess what? She's gonna benefit from the works of her father as she should. So you can find me. There's my website, realuconsulting.com. If you need a session, you need somebody to come speak, I'll do that from anywhere, virtually, but also I don't mind getting flown out. So I'm here.
Oh, we like flying.
Joe want to get flued out. Joe, you want to get flued out?
Holla at me. Holla at me.
That's right. Go ahead and hit him up. He's got a lot of good things to say. And I'm going to actually piggyback a little bit off of what Joe said. Listen, we all have our own life purpose. And that's what we're here for. We're here to ride that thing screaming and having a good time. And along the way, you're going to bump your heads, and so are your children. It's nothing wrong with you being able to help give your children a foot and a hand up, but also let them explore their own wings as well. So there is a fine line, but understand that your children are not just spit out from you to do the exact same thing that you're doing. They have a purpose-driven life as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you can find me at bit.ly/Laura Key Info. I too am in real estate, but I also focus on international real estate with a focus on Portugal. And baby, is Portugal ready for you? Come and see the world. So as we wrap up today, I want you to remember that preparing our kids for success means more than just giving them the tools that they need, but it's also about teaching them to work for their goals and what other people can do for them to help them get that hand up. It's not a bad thing to do. So success isn't about what they have. It's about what they earn through effort and perseverance and a little bit of help along the way. We all say, we're standing on the backs of our ancestors. That's a pretty powerful statement. So let's continue to inspire our kids to reach for their dreams and work hard to make that happen. After all, the journey is just as important as the destination. Thank you for being here today. We will see you again tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't miss it. And if you think you're going to, just text the word Queens, Queens, to 87948 to get updated when we go live. And listen, don't forget, if you want to be on our show, all you have to do is email us, info@realvirtual.net. We have a guest spot waiting for you. Until tomorrow, be blessed. Hug your babies. Hug them. Not enough love in the world. Hug them tight. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.